stop. What a getting, you need listen. I'm on bed, I'm sorry, money, I'm on the round, no, catch me if you can. Japa, no London. Japa, Jawo Canada. Japa, Jawo Chicago. Japa, Jalo Africa. Emma Pano Fegu Ganja. Mon fa kese, mon fa casa. Along my jago con cancer. Some questions they yeah, them I have no answer. Some questions them I have no answer. Them are coming for me no answer. We are one of the things them not like that. Them are gonna be gonna fight back. Yes, I'm on my way. Still hope and pray for better days. Girls wanna know my place. Come on, bring that waist, no time to waste. Say she like my voice and she like my face. That's okay. Say she wondering, like the baba. Baby, I'm my back, and I ain't gonna stop. What a getting, you need listen. I'm on bed, I'm sorry, money, I'm on the round, no, catch me if you can. Japa, no London. Japa, Jawo Canada. Japa, Jawo Chicago. Africa. Popo, I'm a back, and I ain't gonna stop. Popo, I'm a house, asking me questions, but I ain't gonna talk. I ain't gonna talk, oh. I didn't see nothing. I don't know nothing. Killing me, oh. If you want to fire me, make I jump. I ain't going to that station. If you want to fire me, make I jump. I ain't going to that station. Popo behind my back, and I ain't gonna stop. Popo behind my back, and I ain't gonna stop. Popo behind my back, and I ain't gonna stop. Popo behind my back, and I ain't gonna stop. All this.
Wanna make love on the moon, dancing to my tunes. Easy too much, it's not too much. I wanna be the forest, if wishes were horses. Easy too much, it's not too much. If I want money, I do what I got to say. If I want money, I'ma buy my shoulder, I'ma buy my foya, I'ma buy me. Yeah, I wanna be a billionaire, yeah. I wanna be a billionaire, yeah. Anybody, Lori Mejo, I wanna be a billionaire, I wanna be a billionaire.
One business has a lot of money. Now I want you to tell me, what are you going to do with it?
When I wake up in a Lamborghini, I want to fly for Santorini, the Bonito Sicily. Oh, yeah. If I want money, I do what I got to say. If I want money, I'm all by my shoulder, I'm all by my phone, yeah. I'm all by me. Yeah. I wanna be a billionaire, billionaire, yeah. I wanna be a billionaire, billionaire.
You want to use Lifeline?
Yes.
Which one?
Funny friend.
All right, all the friends that are available, who's more likely to answer this question?
Well, my friend, Brother Shaggy.
That's Shaggy.
Yes. He's my friend from high school, from secondary school.
All right, let's not waste time. Let's put Brother Shaggy on the line, shall we?
Hello, Shaggy.
Hello.
Alpha Natani.
Hey, Makana.
I didn't want who wants to be a billionaire. I beg, help me. I say I need your help right now. I beg.
Okay, I don't calm down. What's happening?
Okay. Listen to the question.
What is a group of tigers called?
Tiger. Okay, where? Tiger plenty. What's it that body? Yeah, we are tiger. Okay, what is the option? Where did you?
Here are the options: congregation, parliament.
Rashagi is a fool, I swear. You really don't appreciate these things until you're that way. I spent the whole night watching. He has this series where he teaches people how to write. Yeah.
That's where tiger. Tigers. Tiger. What is that? So yeah, tiger in the house. Ambush in a tiger. Oh yeah, because they won't say what. Where two or three tiger is a guy that it's called an ambush. Tiger. Hello.
Bye. Ambush.
Here it is. If you went for congregation, it would have been wrong.
We're going to start in 1 minute.
If you went for school, it would have been wrong. Or you went for ambush. Now here's the moment. Ambush. Ambush was not incorrect. It was right.
Okay. Enough of that movie. Now we can get with our session. Me too, I want to be a billionaire, but for many other reasons. Not just so I can sit in a Bugatti. Okay, so today we are getting started. So I had to wear this billionaire shit. Funny thing is, so I had a few friends. I had my brothers come over for Thanksgiving. I don't know which one of them ordered this, so we've been seeing it line around the house. Okay.
I act like a billionaire as well, so I'll take it off for now because I'm sure you guys are wondering you're in the house. You're like, there's shit. So welcome everybody. We're excited to be here. On Monday, we had a fantastic session with one of my friends and brothers, Isaiah Adelabu, who is also a PhD scholar.
Yeah.
Our guest is very much acquainted with him as well. So we are all like a group of young people inspiring one another. And as I said, he met last week at my speaker for last week inspired who does this particular because we share a lot in common. And I remember those days back in 2006, 2007, early days of Martian Phoenix, and amazing dreams that you had then, and how I'm excited to see how they are beginning to find expression. That you're someone who is now, if you're looking for a rounded person, so I'll start recording now. Looking for a rounded person, someone who is really rounded in their life and work. And by the way, he's a newly wedded person. Please
Yes.
congratulate our guest today. But yeah, he's a rounded person, and I mean, both in in faith and also in academics, and someone I believe has been able to demonstrate that you don't have to compromise one for some people believe that when you're a Christian, you shouldn't be excellent. Some people believe that when you're very excellent, then you should forget the place of the God factor. So this is someone that you might not even want me to talk in that way, but even it's someone who has that, that I've personally am inspired by his ability to put all of that together. So thanks for all of you. Thanks to all of you who have joined pretty early. Hopefully more people will join us. But again, as I've told you guys before, we're not waiting for anybody. The goal of this, I want to see if I can mute everybody. The goal of this session is to be able to help those who are really keen, about moving abroad, particularly using the academic direction, to be able to find the help that they need. So, and I'm not one of those people who just talks about stuff and walks away. I mean, it haunts me every day of my life. So after President Buhari's speech, I started this movement, about 3,000 people on Telegram who said they are joining that Telegram because they want to move in 12 months. But as we all know, not everybody's going to get serious about it. Some are like, I am stuck. It's Dubai I want to go to. Some is Canada I want to go to. And they don't know, they're not aware that it really doesn't work exactly like that. One of the things you must know is you need to create alternative plans. And I've said this time without number. But today is not the day to also drive a narrative about movement. It's really specifically focused on those of you who already know what you're doing and why you're on this call. All right. And also an opportunity for me to be able to record a very priceless session with someone whose mind is very sound, that other people in the future who join our group will be able to participate and watch, but you are a live audience today, and thanks for joining. So very quickly, I will run through what the order would be. For about 30 minutes, we'll have our speaker, Mr. Mike Uduebo, who is going to come on for about 30 minutes to run through his presentation. Well, 30 to 45 minutes. And I will ask some questions as well that I feel very strong on my heart and that people have asked in the groups earlier. Then we take another 15 minutes to answer questions of those who are live with us on Zoom. Those who are with us on Zoom have the privilege because they have committed to be on my exclusive group. So there are people who, because of that commitment, I can say that they have decided that nothing is going to stop them. Whether it's a master's program or a PhD program on express entry, they feel that their potential will find better expression outside Nigeria. And they've made that commitment to be here. So that's why they are able to join on Zoom. There are a number of other people who are watching us on YouTube right now who are part of the general group as well. And of course, they're going to be able to learn. And if they have any questions, they can put it in the chat on YouTube as well, as Idris, my colleague, and Okewa, if she eventually joins, will be able to help. So please make welcome Mr. Mike Uduebo. Every of my PhD friends, I always call them Doc. So some of them are like, I've not even collected a doctorate. What's your problem? But please allow me in the course of this session to call you a doctor because you're really on the path to doing that. And it's good to see your face.
It's also nice being here. That's all.
Yeah, sir.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Shola. I really appreciate you setting this up. I remember October 1, we had a very a very impactful session where we had it was a very small group meeting, just like we have it now. We were talking about the Nigerian dream and how it's how we who are abroad can contribute in our own way to the well-being and the wealth of the country, Nigeria, back home. I think one of the things you can do to really help Nigeria at this point is to get people to leave. Just the way Shola is doing now, right? And I really want to appreciate this effort. I'm really not a out people person, so Shola knows is really dragging me out to talk at this time. But I appreciate this. I've tried to set up a kind of presentation that's going to help me gather my thoughts together so I don't throw you guys here and there. And if you bear with me for the next 40 minutes, I will try to engage you with some of the little things I feel are the things that you need to put into place if you have in mind, all right, to assess global opportunities, particularly through education. Let me share my screen here so it's accessible to everybody. All right, good. All right, so I'll be talking about assessing global opportunities via education. And my outline is as follows. First of all, we'll be talking about my story, and I'll try to dig down to focus on what your focus is, as a person, and then we'll move into talking about US in particular, where I am now, and global scholarships. And then we'll move on to talk about statement of purpose tips and PhD positions. And then finally, we'll end with trends in the United States. But by way of introduction, my name is Udobo Michael. I used to be a lecturer in the Federal University of Technology, Akure. It's still up on my LinkedIn currently. I've not gone there to change it. I'm also a NSF scholar here in the United States, NSF being the National Science Foundation, where I conduct research into frost heave and road pavements in particular. I got here early on this year, but I've had several collaborative efforts with professors here in the US, first under the Carnegie African Diaspora Fellowship and other stuff like that while I was back home in Nigeria. The first thing I'm going to tell you guys is you can never know the difference until you get here. All right, they can tell you the stories, they can tell you details, but I mean, when you get here, you really know things are actually different. And you kind of develop a strong passion for Nigeria, even much more than when you were back home or back there in Nigeria. So I'm going to tell you, I'll start first with my story. I graduated in 2011, which is a very, very long time ago. And I was a brilliant chap. I didn't come out with the first class, all right? But you know what people they call first class material. All right, so I was a first class material in so much that after leaving for my NYSC, the school had to write to the NYSC to have me back. Why? Because I happened to be one of the few people that knew how to man a 30 million naira equipment they just acquired at the time. So I spent my NYSC service in school. And you can always guess. I mean, so after doing that, the next thing everybody's asking, when are you going to do your master's? When are you going to do your advanced program? So I put in for a master's degree. But while I was doing that, I mean, I really wanted to live the life. I come from a middle class family. So I put in to Owando. I wanted to work with Owando. Then they were having this graduate training program and all that. And so I signed up for that, and I got through the first stage, the second stage. I got to the assessment center, and we're waiting for my letter and all that. And when my professor then, Professor S.A. Ola, got a grant under the TED Fund to conduct a 4-year research. All right, so I'm the star boy, there's money on ground, so what are you looking for? So I put my neck into that, and for the next 3 years, I was running my master's in Nigeria. And unfortunately, within that period, he left and kind of left me in limbo. But I got my degree, my master's degree anyway, and I started, looking for a way to get my my PhD. And so that's when I started, searching for options outside of the country. Although I kept on running, my program locally back in Nigeria. But what I want to drive home here, I mean, through it all, since I graduated from 2011, I always wanted to study abroad. All right, but life always threw at me alternatives. All right, alternatives. At every point in time where I wanted to I need to start planning to go abroad, I had an alternative. All right, it looked lucrative, it looked inspiring. All right, you want to do something inspiring, for Nigeria. We can also do something back home and all that. But you really cannot create a change. You really cannot effect a change if you do not know how things are supposed to be. All right, the best you can do is what you have seen. All right, coming here now, I mean, the number of things I've been able to do, the number of ideas, the number of vision, I've had. And it's just like what Shola was saying. In my 3 months of arriving here, I set up my website. And the interesting thing about it, people say, oh, I mean, you're in the US now, you have money. So, I mean, you can splurge on the website. But I tell them, no, I didn't splurge on it. In fact, the interesting thing was I wrote that website myself. in 3 months of arriving here. Why? Because there's always internet, there's always power, the tools are at my disposal. So I did everything from scratch. Everything you see on my website, it was created by me. All right, so those are the things that you can do. And now, we're trying to develop a Google Classroom to teach students back in Nigeria. All right, bypass this whole ASU, university, brouhaha. I mean, if you can set up something where they can study, then we look for a way to go around certification and the likes. But if I'm going to drive anything to you or drive anything across to you with my story, I need you to be single-minded. All right, does that mean you don't do any other thing? No, but any other thing you are doing it to aid your resolve to migrate out of Nigeria. All right. So if you are working currently, I'm not telling you to drop your job. All right. I'm telling you, see that job as a tool to facilitate your leaving or immigrating out of Nigeria. All right. As long as you begin to see your job, your works, other things around you as alternatives. All right. How much can they give to you? Maybe that's a question I should ask. How much can they give to you to remain in Nigeria? All right, and if you can answer that question, then I'm going to ask you a second question. I mean, the current exchange rate of the Naira to the dollar is about 500. So how much will that money be worth in another 2 years' time? All right, so I mean, it's like a never-ending cycle. All right, so don't let anything take your resolve. All right, if you have resolved that you want to emigrate, you want to move, you want to japa, as that song was saying. I mean, everything you are doing, all right, your work, your relationships, your acquaintances, your everything. In fact, it's someone like you shouldn't be the one that is planning to buy a Jeep or a G-Wagon, because I mean, you have to sell it at the end of the day. All right, so live your life like a pilgrim, live your life like you are living. All right, make everything, ensure that you are single-minded, all right, in your purpose. As long as you have alternatives, you are not going to do that. All right, it took me 2 or 3 years to finally get here. All right, but because I always had alternatives, I didn't put in all my effort into it. I try a little bit. If I don't get a result, I pull back, focus on some other things. All right, but if you are single-minded, all the people I know that have been able to leave the country, come here to the United States or any other place, they've been people who have been single-minded. All right, be single-minded in your purpose. All right, so let's move on to ULs and global scholarships. The first thing I'm going to talk about is what I term, all right, the curse of the wealthy. All right, when people have money, they find it very difficult to do regular things. All right, it's just like a rich man who is driving on the streets of Oyo, for instance, and he finds it difficult to come down from his vehicle to buy boli, all right, or to buy roasted corn. All right, he wants it. He's a human being like you. He desires it. But because of his status, because of his wealth, he has to maybe send somebody, all right, to go buy that stuff for him. All right, security risk. What will people say? I'm a big man. He said, will I just come down from my Jeep and sit down with these people and be eating peppered snail? So somebody goes to buy it, they package it and they bring to him. So that's what the problem is they have in places like the US, and developed countries now. So they have access to that wealth. So their citizens or the population do not have that resolve to put their hands into manual labor or mental labor, as it were. All right, they prefer managerial roles. They prefer. So when it comes to academics, you can't tell a child who has been earning a salary since the age of 13, all right, to come and do a master's. You ask you what does he need the master's for? All right, he's been earning maybe $50 an hour already, or $100 an hour already. I mean, so what does he need a master's for? They practically beg them here to come and take advanced studies. All right, if you look at the advanced program, particularly in my school here, we are all international students. Right, maybe 1 or 2 people are going to be local students. All right, so they want what you want, but you are the one that has that ability. All right, you have the mental ability, you have the time. All right, and you have the resolve, all right, to go into academics, take advanced studies and stuff like that. So what do? You start from where you are, all right, and with what you have, all right. You can have money, you can have time, or you can have some particular set of skills that they are looking for, all right. Whatever you have, be ready to invest it, all right, to get what you want. Definitely, at some point, you too will get to a place where, you tell yourself, what am I looking for? All right, I have a lady in our church. After her master's, She started working with Duke Energy. She's a cyber security expert. All right. And I mean, she's living the life now. You know, so we usually tease, I say, oh, why don't you come and do a PhD? They said, PhD, what am I using PhD for? All right. The end point is to make money. I'm already making money. All right. So, I mean, start where you are. All right. And invest what you have. All right. To eventually get what you want. All right. So if you are planning to enter or to gain entry or to migrate or to relocate, you know, via education, there are three things I want you to put in mind. All right. It is number one, you need to invest time. All right. And when we're talking about time, we're talking about from a minimum of 2 to a maximum of about 5 years. All right. If you're running a master's program, you have 1 year master's, but you know, eventually it turns out about 2 years. And if you are running a PhD program, it runs between 3 and 5 years. All right. So be ready to invest that period of time. People look at it like, oh, it's very long, but you know, sit down and consider. All right. What have I done with the last 2 years of my life? What have I done with the last 5 years of my life? All right. The reason why we have a lot of people that come to this country, particularly in the US, and they japa, all right, or they ra, you know, is because they've not really sat down to count the cost. All right. If you're going to come in through education, be ready, all right, to invest that period of time. All right. Things might look a little difficult in quotes. I mean, I don't think things are actually difficult. All right. But know that that period of time is an investment that you're making towards your future. All right. The second thing you want to have is skills. All right. Some skill sets, whether basic, whether advanced or specialized. All right. You need to ask yourself, what skills do I have or what skills can I offer? All right. Particularly in the education space. I'm going to talk about that much later. And finally, you need commitment. All right. Because it's like you are being paid to do a particular work. All right. So you need to show commitment to the work for which you are being paid for. All right. Unlike in Nigeria, scholarships here are designated like jobs. All right. If you get a scholarship to study, it's like you've gotten a job. All right. You'll be taxed. Your scholarship amount will be taxed. All right. I mean, you have work hours, you know, that will be stipulated. You know, you have regulations, you know, ethics and stuff like that. You might even go through training. All right. Even though it's a scholarship, all right. The way it is designed like a job. All right. So you need to be committed to it so you can get something out of it. All right, so there are a lot of scholarships, all right, and this is where, you know, a lot of people need to get some little awareness about, all right. There are a lot of scholarships out there, all right, and whatsoever condition you find yourself, there's a scholarship for you, all right, there's a scholarship for you, all right. So it's don't say, I came out with a third class, or I don't have good grades, or I don't have what it takes, or people who are traveling out are people maybe are first class candidates and the likes. No, there's a scholarship for you. All right, you'll be surprised, you know, if you do your research very well. There are scholarships for people that have lost their father. All right, they're not concerned about whether you had a first class or a third class. Did you lose your father? Yes, come and collect scholarship. All right, there's people that they say, oh, for people that are from villages. All right. And you ask yourself, oh, this place where I'm staying, don't let me mention where I'm staying. Ask yourself, is it a city or a village? All right. It's true, because, you know, don't let us get it twisted.
When Nigeria qualifies.
Yeah. Don't let us get it twisted. What you call village, all right, is like interland or forest. All right. I mean, there are development metrics, all right, for measuring all these things. All right, so they say, oh, people who are indigent, people who are from, you know, less, you know, developed places and things like that. So there's a scholarship for everybody, all right? Just look for the one that will fit you, all right? And that will lead me to the second point, all right? Find your scholarship, or you can fit yourself to a scholarship, all right? For those people who are maybe familiar with competitions, signing up for competitions or for programs or events, there's some particular set of things that people are looking for, all right? Sometimes if you look at the scholarship post, they put up criteria, all right? We're looking for somebody who has this, who has this, who has this. All right, so if you have a scholarship that you really like and really want, then your job is to fit yourself for that scholarship, all right? Ask yourself, what is the criteria? What do I have? What do I need to add to myself? All right? What extra things do I need to add to it? And definitely, if you search, I mean, you will definitely find one. Scholarship categories. There are several scholarships, but I try to characterize them into these 4 categories, basically. The first one is university-based scholarships. This is something a lot of people don't understand. Universities always have funding for research. All universities. All right. So many times when we search, particularly when we're searching from Nigeria, we always target the scholarships that come from maybe private individuals, organizations, or government grants. All right. But so many people don't understand that universities themselves have what we call endowment funds. And endowment funds, part of the endowment fund is for the university to conduct research. All right. Part of the endowment fund, part of funds that are given to the university is to conduct research. Sometimes the state gives them some money, right, to conduct research. So there's always money, to sponsor students. There's always money to give to students, to come to conduct research, in universities. And under university-based scholarships, as I want to put it, we have what we call teaching assistantships. All right, we have research assistants. So they will not publicize it as scholarship, as it were. They will tell you, oh, there's a teaching assistant position available in social departments. Right? Or there's a research assistantship available in social department, or there's a postdoc available in social department, or a fellowship available in social department. All right, so university-based scholarships are readily available. You can go to any university and you can go ahead and apply to them. All right, you will get all this. The second one is government and state grants. All right, so the government also gives grants. All right, they give grants to universities, to carry out research also. The first one is the National Science Foundation. One of the examples I have here. The second one is the Fulbright. I think the American Embassy usually comes even in Nigeria to publicize the Fulbright scholarship. I mean, this scholarship that is the government-based, although they do it in line with many universities, but it's a government or a state grant, right? That is either given to you as an individual or given to a university, right? So that they can now take students for research, right? So I'll talk about some of these when I'm doing some more exegesis later. The third category are private scholarships. All right, these are scholarships from foundations, private individuals, and the likes. We have Aga Khan, we have Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation scholarships, and the fourth one is joint scholarships, right? With the government and universities, a private foundation or a private individual and universities, and there are a lot of them. All right, there are a lot of them. I won't start coming to list. In fact, as there are a lot of programs, so also we have, we have a lot of scholarships, right? As we have a lot of programs, so also we have a lot of scholarships. All right, so there are several proven methods for assessing scholarships, and some of the people that Shola has mentioned, Isaiah, I know of Mata Jason, and several other people that, if you go on Twitter, go on Facebook, that a lot of people that are talking about scholarships, and the likes. I mean, go listen to them, listen to their method, and find what works or what you are comfortable with. All right. But what I'm going to emphasize here is the fact that you need to follow through. All right. Like Shola said, 3,000 people signed up, but I mean, definitely, how many people are willing to, everybody wants to, all right, but how many people are willing to follow through? All right, and it's just like the Bible says that it's whoever perseveres unto the end, those are people that are going to get saved. All right, so you need to follow through. All right, you need to follow through whatsoever method that people have proven to work, and you feel comfortable with that method. Then go ahead. All right, go ahead and make sure you follow through, and definitely you're going to have your own testimony also. All right, so I want to give tips for securing funding. I don't usually do the conventional this. All right, so I'm just going to give you tips. The first tip is follow the money. All right, I learned this tip when I actually got to United States. All right, so this is a tip I'm sharing to you. All right, a lot of people pursue universities, pursue professors, pursue people. Some people, I get a lot of messages on LinkedIn and all that. But yes, that is effective. But the real way you get, what you are looking for is by following the money. All right. For instance, NSF gives out $50 billion US, right? Maybe this year, and they give it to different universities and give it to different professors. What do? On the NSF website, they have a list of all the people they are funding. They have a list of all the schools they are funding. All right. So what do? You go to the NSF website, all right, and then you look for all the people that they are funded in the category, look for somebody who, for maybe your department or your program or the course you want to study, and look, oh, did they fund anybody in physics, electronics, for instance, or did they fund anybody in mechatronics, or did they fund anybody in chemistry? Right. And when you check it and you realize, oh, there's this person that got a funding in this university, then you know this person has money. All right. So if you talk with him, he cannot tell you, oh, sorry, I don't have money, or sorry, I'm sorry, I can't take students. And you know they just gave him money. All right. So he can't deny you. Right? So follow the money. All right. So the first thing is, who is giving it? Yeah. People don't know. It's when I got here too, I understood it. All right. Why? Because we have inner circles here. All right. So they tell you, oh, Professor so and so just got NSF funding. So definitely he's looking for students, because once they give you money, they let me chip this in. America is a very performance-oriented society. All right. They don't care if you are smoking or you're just perform. All right. So once they give you money, they're already looking for results. All right. There's the result. And once money lands, they're looking for students already. All right. So the first thing is, ask yourself, who is giving out the money? All right. The government is giving money. The foundation is giving money. The next thing is, who are they giving this money to? All right. If you can find out who they are giving the money to, then you move in that direction also. The first people they will give money to, maybe professors. All right. If they give a professor money, then the professor definitely will be looking for students. All right. Then you follow the professor. All right. They could give it out to research groups, and they could give it out to universities or institutes. A lot of people from Nigeria only focus on universities. We don't focus on institutes. And institutes are where research is done, meaningful research is done, and you get highly paid. In fact, people in institutes get higher paid than we who work in universities. All right. Why? Because they understand institutes are specialized. All right. But in the US, you may not have so many institutes like that. But I know in France, there are a lot of institutes in France. All right. And they get wonderful funding. All right. Wonderful funding. So don't just search universities, also search institutes. All right. Institutes too get funding, and institutes too are looking for people. All right. The third place you can follow the money to is, ask yourself, who has secured a scholarship with this money before? All right. So link up with past students. All right. Look for people who have gotten the grants before, people who have gotten that money before, or people who have worked alongside the grants. Why? Where do you find that? In the newsletter. All right. In the newsletter, they tell you, oh, on the spotlight this week, Adebayo Falas, is one of our students that graduated in 2018. He worked with Professor so and so. Bam, go straight to LinkedIn and go and look for Adebayo. And say, I'm here. Help your bro. How do I get this something also? And it's gonna put you through. All right. Then also collaborate with people, prospective people that are looking for this scholarship too. People are looking for money. All right. If you're looking for money, join people who are looking for money, and it makes it easier. Yeah. A group like this, for instance. All right. So I have this small group of my students, while after they graduated, and if a few of them we post and say, sir, I just signed up for this scholarship. Please write a recommendation letter. So I send a recommendation letter, and then I tell him, have you sent this something to the others? He say, no. She send it now. It doesn't stop you from getting your food. Yeah. So there's that part also. But I usually encourage people that you tell people about the scholarship does not mean you will not get it. In fact, I practically lived on scholarship all through my studies. Right? I was an ExxonMobil scholar in my undergraduate studies. And how did I get it? A day before the deadline, my roommate told me about the scholarship. All right. So I signed up for the scholarship, and both of us went to Ibadan, Kakanfoyin, I can remember, and we wrote the exam, and I got the scholarship, and we did it. I get it. So it's not by whether or not you tell somebody or you don't tell somebody. If you're going to get the scholarship, you get the scholarship. All right. I mean, if your application is wonderful, you're going to get. It's one of the things I'm going to talk about. All right. There's no bias. All right. It's performance based. All right. So join a group of guys. I mean, if you are in a group and somebody wins a scholarship, I mean, celebrate them. All right, celebrate them. But, have that community of people. I know there are several WhatsApp groups. I think I'm a member of 1 or 2 or 3 of them. All right, where people keep on posting scholarship. All right, just apply. As they are posting, apply. As they are posting, just go ahead and apply. All right, so this is my own guide to securing scholarships anywhere in the world. All right, it's 100% proven. All right, I have 100. I'm not like Sola. Sola is an evangelist, so he knows how to.
Patented. You have patented this.
Sola knows how to use those words. All right, but I will just tell you, I have a 100% track record using this. All right, and one of the advantages of using this method is this: it gives you a global outlook. It gives you a global outlook. I caught on one of the things Shola was saying right from the beginning, that you have alternatives. Yes, you want to come to the US, you want to come to Canada, but Japan is not bad. Okay, you want
Japan is very not bad, very not bad.
You know, so you know you want to go to the UK, you want to go here, but Finland is not bad either. All right, so I mean, one of the things this is going to do for you is going to give you a global outlook. All right, so you understand. Oh, yes, this program or this course or this course of study, all right, that I want to go into is available in several places around the world. All right, so the first section of this I call groundwork. All right, the first thing is to decide on your course or your program of study. All right, where we get disadvantage in Nigeria particularly is the nomenclature for programs in the world or globally has changed. All right, so you have a situation where, for instance, you know, let's use hotel management. All right, hotel management at Nsukka or IMSU, for instance. I mean, when you come to the US, nobody is doing hotel management. All right, so if you are searching in Google hotel management, university doing hotel management in US, you will not see anything. I'm sorry, you will not see. All right, so I mean, you need to be a little bit creative. All right, tell yourself, oh, hotel management is hospitality. All right, what do you call, you know, just look for different alternatives and begin to, you know, use those buzzwords. You realize, you know, several people do not get what they're looking for because what they're looking for is now called something else. All right, I had somebody who wanted to study mining. All right, and the course or the mining course he wanted to do has been blended already with architecture here in the US. So he was a mining engineer, he's doing mining engineering in Nigeria. So all his mind was, oh, I want to do, you know, mining structure, the structure or the design of, you know, a mine and stuff like that. But it is now domiciled under a department or a faculty of architecture here in the US. Right, so it took some research for him to realize that, oh, so if I'm looking for engineering, I will miss it because what I'm looking for is under architecture. All right. I have another friend too that is into, you know, construction, building construction. Building construction in some places is under the faculty of architecture. It's not even engineering anymore. Okay, so do your research, find related courses. Sometimes you might need to use a different name. All right, like I said, you can't be searching for hotel management in the US. You won't find. All right. The next thing is to select 5 global regions where you would love to study. All right, you can take it in priority. All right, and you will realize this is very funny. I have a very funny arrangement here. US and Canada. All right, Europe. You might say, is UK not part of Europe? Is Russia not part of Europe? No. If you calculate the amount of universities in UK alone, is enough to stand on its own. All right, so US and Canada, Europe, UK, Asia, all right, Malaysia is there. You know, Malaysia has some very good universities, all right, that are offering scholarship. In fact, recently I learned that a Nigerian parastatal was donating some funds to sponsor scholars, to sponsor research in Malaysia, and I was like, what? I mean, how can Nigeria be sponsoring research in Malaysia, for God's sake? It's very funny. All right, there's Russia, there's South America, there's Australia, there's Scandinavian countries. All right, we're talking about Finland, we're talking about Sweden. You know, these are countries that have very high ratings, you know, particularly with education. And Africa, please don't think Africa is bad. All right, before I came to the US, I had the mind to move to Botswana. All right, the exchange rate between Botswana and Nigeria at that time was 28. All right, 28. One Botswana, I think, is a rand. Yeah, it's a rand. I think they also use rand. It was 28. So the exchange rate was fair enough. And, you know, I get to do safari. I get to enjoy myself. You know, they don't have Wahala in that place. So there are very good places also in Africa. All right. So don't cut Africa out as, oh, I want to, you know, leave this continent entirely. Right. So select 5 global regions where you would love to study. Then after doing that, have your own criteria. all right? Oh, sorry. While doing that, have your own criteria, all right? Maybe ease of settling, whether they have the best programs for your course of study, maybe they have flexible working hours, or is there any work restrictions, visa restrictions, and forget horror stories. All right, don't let anybody terrify you with horror stories. So this that place is, they are racist, they are this. No, I mean performance. All right, focus on performance. All right, don't let anybody chase you away with with horror stories. All right, the next thing to do is to select 10 to 15 universities in each region. All right, so you've selected 5. All right, by the time you select 10 universities in total, you will have selected 50 universities. Now, very few people have followed through with this, but the people who have followed through have gotten not 1, not 2, but 3 or 4 offers at the same time. All right. Select 5 universities in each region. All right. Open an Excel spreadsheet or have a notebook where you have those information. Save their websites. Go through each of the school's pages. All right. Links to important pages and stuff like that. Next, get their requirements. Are they asking for a statement of purpose? Do they require GRE, TOEFL, IELTS, application fees, for instance, all right? Get their requirements. I usually tell people to use a spreadsheet. Why? Because when you use a spreadsheet, at a glance, you can add filters and things like that to know, okay, what is the general or major requirements, all right? So the next thing is to find the major requirements, for each of these universities and then secure them. All right, there are some schools that may require application fees. Some schools may not require application fees. Some schools may tell you, we want GRE and want TOEFL. Some schools will say GRE is enough. So look for the ones that are common to all the schools. I know for certain, all the schools will require certificates. All the schools will require your transcripts. All of them might require, your maybe statement of purpose, or statement of intent. All of them might require recommendations. Get those things ready. I was talking to someone last week, and I was asking, how far with your transcript? Is it that they are on strike? I mean, see, you that do not have transcripts, are you the one that is going to be ready to apply for other things? All right. So what is their major requirements? I mean, the ones that are looking special to a particular university, no need to rush for that. But the one that you realize, oh, this thing is repeating itself over and over and over again, go ahead and get those ones and get it ready. All right. Then the next thing to move into is to move into research and networking. All right. And this is where, some of the things I've mentioned earlier will come in. All right. Find and research on individuals, all right, from each of those universities, maybe professors, which one of them is working in line with what you want to do, which one of them has funding currently. All right. They usually have pages for their professors where you can look up their research interests, find out, what the research he has worked on in the time past, his publications and the likes. All right. So things are easier when you have a man on the inside. All right. For me, when I got recruited, I didn't have to apply, all right, to get recruited. All right. It was someone, I got a call, all right, and the person called me up and said, "Oh, are you interested in this one?" I said, "Yes, definitely. I'm interested." All right. So it was a breeze. So even when the school was asking for transcript and everything, I was like, "See, guys, the school is on strike or whatever it is, but this is what I have." And they accepted it. Why? Because there's somebody on the inside that is working for you, or somebody that's on the inside that's interested in having you. All right. So if you can get somebody on the inside, it may not necessarily even be a professor. It may be a Nigerian student. It will shock you. All right. The first time I will realize this is 2012. 2012 when I applied for the Hong Kong scholarship. All right. I sent in my application, and about a month or a month and a half afterwards, I got a message on my WhatsApp. It was a friend of mine. We graduated from school together, and he says, "Oh, Mike, I'm reviewing your application." I was like, "What?" He says, "Didn't you apply to Hong Kong University of Science and Technology?" I said, "Yes." He said, "My application is right in front of him." So what happened? He's currently working with the professor. The professor said, "Oh, I got an application from Nigeria. Take, do your research on this person and give me feedback." All right. I was also telling a couple of guys, I said, "See, maybe I should give you this information too. There has been a shortage of recruitment from China because of the COVID. So universities are looking for students right now. All right. My professors are crying. Mike, can we get students?" All right. Just recommend, we need to recommend students for us. Why? Because a large percentage, of students coming from China, from India, into the US. But because of the COVID, there are restrictions, not that they don't want them to come, but, international diplomacy, policy and the likes, there are restrictions for them to get here. Right? So they are looking for alternatives. Where do we get students from? Why? Because the research is some research already on the way already. Some people have gotten funding already. Are you getting the point? So they are looking for students. All right. So try and get somebody on the inside. It could be a professor, it could be a student, all right, that's going to be working things for you. All right. The international office calls and says, oh, we need your transcript. All right. And you don't, maybe they're on strike. All right, and you cannot get the transcripts quickly. You can call the person there, and the person can go there and explain to them and say, "Oh, currently in the country there is strike action, but this person has this, he has this. He can tender this in lieu of that." And when that is ready, it becomes easier to hear than you sending an email, trying to explain to them why ASU has been on strike for over 8 months and the likes. All right, so get somebody on the inside. To do that, one tool that you find very important is LinkedIn. All right, so some people. They see the premium 3 months free version. All right. I believe if you are dedicated and you really want to get things done, that premium free period is enough to do enough damage. All right. The premium version gives you ability to message the CEO of top companies, and there is nothing they can do about it.
Anybody in this whole wide world.
You can message there is nothing they can do about it. They will see the message. All right. So if you are serious, if you have your armory ready, if you have everybody you are ready, you want to contact, just activate that premium version. Even if it's 1 month, they give to you, activate it, and within 1 month, do enough damage that after that 1 month, LinkedIn themselves we have to contact you and say, Ogbeni, you need to pay for this 1 month that you have used. All right. So try and contact people, try and get people on the inside. The second thing is to put your best foot forward. All right. If you have publications, push it. Put it on Facebook, put it on LinkedIn. It doesn't matter. Just publicize it. Even if it's a technical essay you wrote at some point in your degree back there in Nigeria, it may not be a journal paper. Even if it's a technical, I have a technical publication. It was a assignment I was given in my master's, all right, to design a dam. And I placed it on academia.edu. Currently, that paper has 3,100 plus views. All right, I put it in my CV. I said, oh, this paper, it has 3,100 and something views. It's one of the things I used to brag. I say, do you have any paper that they have viewed over 3,000 times? Are you getting the point? So the little things you have, put it forward. All right, if you have experience, share it on LinkedIn. If you have short stories, even YouTube videos will go as well. So keep on trying, right? Keep on trying. The Japanese proverb says, if you fall 7 times, stand up on the 8th time, right? Like I said, if you are not single-minded, you try, after a little while, you're going to pull back. If you try, after a little while, you're going to pull back. But if you are resolute in your decision, all right, you will keep on doing everything you need to do, all right, you keep on doing everything you need to do to get, yes, I mean, slide share. Right, slide share. All right. I mean, there's also slide share. All right. So if you have anything, I'm serious. I mean anything. All right. Just put it out there. Why? Because we are living in a digital age. All right. They should be able to track once they type your name. All right. A full page of Google search should be full with something about you, and it shouldn't be social media. I'm sorry. It shouldn't be you shaking bomb or something. If you are really interested in academics, all right, there should be at least some serious stuff. And when they search your name on Google, some serious stuff should come out. All right. If you search my name now, you will see something on Google, you will see something on academia, you see something on ResearchGate, you see something on ORCID. All right. Let them be able to track something digitally, all right, to you. I'll quickly move on here. All right. So let's quickly move into statement of purpose tips. All right. There are a lot of statement of purpose guidelines out there. All right, so I'm not going to try and do rework all over again. I'm just going to give you tips for what I believe, all right, will work. All right, for what I believe will work, for everybody. Yes, ORCID, yeah, ORCID. All right, what I believe will work. What I believe will work for everybody. The first thing is to make sense. All right, if you followed this popular Big Brother Naija something, Lekon will say, just have sense. All right, and really that's the minimum thing you can do. Just have sense. All right, I see somebody take a template, all right, from a template website and copies it and just takes his verbatim. That's no sense. All right, nobody is saying you should not use templates. you all need something to guide us in life. All right. Even in normal human living, you need somebody or something to guide you. All right. So if you have a template, make it yours. All right. Modify it. Right. Let's put in your own input. Let it become personal to you. All right. Let it become personal to you. All right. The next thing you need to consider is to think, what can I contribute? All right, to this research. What can I contribute to this research? What can I contribute to this people's group? What can I contribute to this university? What can I contribute to this country? All right, you are going there to help them, improve their research, improve their economy, improve their, so you should be thinking in that line. All right, there are some scholarships that might require you to talk about how you are going to come back to improve your country. Definitely, if you are going to talk in that line, you should talk about what you're going to do, when you come back. All right, but the first part of your statement of purpose should focus on how you're coming to come and study, or you're coming to come and do a research work is going to benefit even the university itself, or the professor itself, or the country itself. All right, so let your focus go that way. The next thing you need to do is to reference previous works. All right, reference some works that you have seen that are interesting in that area. All right, if the professor has done something nice there, put it in. One of the things that is driving me to come and study here is because of Professor so and so. He has done some work in this, which also aligns with the work that I also have done. All right, so anybody reading that, and let me give you this tip. Some people think it's international office that read your SOP. No, it is professors, and people who are maybe in the administrative something. They're the ones that read it. All right, so you don't need to be overtly too something about it. Write it the way you feel it. All right, write it the way you feel it. Reference, a professor. This professor. In fact, when they see the professor's name there, they will take your application and take it straight to the professor. Right, review it. Are you interested in this student? If you're not interested in this student, let's give him to somebody else. All right, because it mentioned your name here. That's why we are bringing him to you. So be intentional, all right, in your writing. All right. The next, propose something of interest. All right. When I get here, I would love to work on so and so. All right. Nobody is saying you are not available to work on in something else. All right. Or don't think it's going to limit you from doing something else. When somebody sees that you have a plan, they find it easier to work with you than someone that says, just give me anything, I will work. Just give me anything. No, don't do that. All right. Be intentional, be focused, in your writing. And lastly, avoid return back scam. All right. You don't necessarily have to come back to Nigeria to develop your country or to make your country great. All right. Some people write statement of purpose, and I see that section, I just usually laugh. I say, who are you scamming? All right, we're still talking about it today, and Shola here. I said, see, the only person you need to scam with return back scam is your view. All right, so you don't need to put all that in your statement of purpose. What is a global something? All right, so you can talk about something global. All right, you don't necessarily have to come back to Nigeria to do something with what you have learned. You can move on to a global stage. All right, definitely whatever you do will affect your country. Today we are talking about the guy that contributed, to the development of the COVID vaccine. He didn't write there that he wants to come back to Nigeria to develop vaccine for Nigeria or to square. He's moving on to global stuff. All right. So you don't necessarily have to do return back. After I finish my program, I'll return back to my country and do development. Go on. Nobody wants to invest something in somebody only for him to go back. What are you going back to do? All right. Instead, write how you have global plans, or a global vision. By the time I finish this program, I want to head out, to United Nations or to global organizations or global agencies and contribute my own quota, to global, this and global that. All right. That is more motivating than someone says, but when I finish what I'm doing now, I will go back to, it's just like saying, if you work with ExxonMobil, or you work with Chevron in Lagos, say, after I finish Chevron, I will go back to my village. Who wants that? All right. So avoid that. I'm going to talk about PhD positions. I'm sorry, I'm running out of time, but I will try and wrap it up as fast as possible. PhD positions. I usually advise people to pursue PhD positions. All right. Why? Because I feel, particularly for this group of people, it is better for immigrations than masters. Right? A master's is usually between 1.5 years and 2 years. Right? And usually the problem most people have is the first year you are really trying to settle down. Right? You're trying to get your footing. It's a different structure, a different environment. You are meeting new people for the first time. If you are in very, very remote places. It's cold. All right. So you are really adjusting yourself. And before you know it, the second year, they're already telling you, okay, when are you going to, what are your plans? All right. Your F1 visa is your F1 or your your F1 is already saying, okay, out of status, all right. So you see a lot of people, go into things like, trying to get into a marriage, and things like that. And usually when I hear those stories, I ask myself, the first question I ask people, I say, was he a master's or a PhD student? And 90% of the time, they are people that run masters, right? Because it comes like a shock, all right? The first year you are settling down, the second year you are trying to board a little, then all of a sudden the program is over. They are beginning to run from pillar to post. I don't want to go back, right? So they begin to involve themselves, etc. But a PhD will last for 3 to 5 years. So you have a lot of time to settle in, all right? You are not in a hurry, all right? You don't need to pressure yourself unnecessarily, right? So you can settle in better, all right? Another thing you can do is you can have a good feel of the country. At least within the 5 years, you will have gone around, to the north, to the east, to the west, to the south. You too, tell yourself, where do I want to settle down, all right? Don't be a victim of circumstance. So anything, just give me. No, have a plan also. And that PhD program gives you that opportunity to do that. Right? Another thing the PhD position will help you to do is to ground yourself in relevant work, accomplishments, and community volunteering. All right. So, a master's, most times you're just conducting maybe a project, all right. You're not doing something that can really ground you as an authority in your field. All right. So you're just doing maybe some coursework and maybe a little research. If you're fortunate, maybe 1 or 2 journal papers, and that's the end of it. So you don't really have enough time, right, to do enough work, that can really ground you. All right, accomplishments, maybe you are focused more on, you're focused on academic work, maybe 1 or 2 competitions you go for and things like that. I recently attended the PhD defense of a friend of mine. All right, she's been here for almost 5 years. By the time they counted the amount of grants she got, she's gotten 3 or 4 personal grants herself. She's won like 16 different competitions in the space of, and it's possible because in the space of 5 years, what are you waiting for? All right, so if you're going to go in and file maybe for an N1W, or the likes, and you put in all the there and say, oh, I have, accolades from 16 different competitions. I was able to attract international grants here, here, and here. It makes you an excellent candidate for that. All right. So a PhD position, I believe, strongly will make you a better candidate, for immigration, for relocating. Also, it helps you forge better relationships, right? So a lot of people, like I was trying to mention, a lot of people enter into arranged, marriages, a relationship that is not well solidified, all right? And they usually run into problems in the long run, right? But as a PhD student, you get to get a feel of people, you are right. A funny story that somebody was saying, somebody went for Thanksgiving, not this Thanksgiving, anyway, he has a girlfriend who's a citizen, and he went there, and right there on the Thanksgiving table, the father was saying, "Chauffeur for mommy, she winning," so, those are realities. Yeah.
Nothing can be more embarrassing.
I'm serious. I told them, I don't know what I would do in that kind of situation, all right? But if you're a PhD student, it helps you make better relationships, right? You would have, done a whole lot. You will have related well. They know you, so they know, okay, this one is not going in a hurry. This one is not trying to, take opportunity, right? Because that's what people. I don't have anything against, having a relationship with people, but get to know people better, all right? You can't know people so well. All right, you need some time really to do that. All right, so a PhD position will help you do that better. The second major point is your specialized knowledge will give you better pay. All right, your specialized knowledge will give you better pay. By the time you finish with a PhD, you become an authority in a specific area, all right, of endeavor or a specific area of study. All right, so you are in high demand. All right, and if not even for your area of study, for your ability to critically think through some problems. All right, so you are in high demand for that, right? And when you have specialized knowledge like that, your pay, all right, you have better pay. So I'm going to pull up this chart. This is a chart of earnings by educational attainment for last year in the US. And in 2013, professional degrees happen to have a higher earning, but gradually now the doctors are taking over. All right. So, and you can see it, all right. So if you have a master's degree, All right, you earn maybe on a weekly basis, maybe around $1,500. But someone with a doctoral degree earns almost 2,000. All right, and if you look at the unemployment rate, you are less likely to be unemployed with a PhD. All right, so it gives you a longer time period, right, to settle down, to ground yourself in original work, right, to become an authority in a specialized area or specialized field. And at the end of the day, you get better pay, right? And all right, unemployment is not a problem anymore at that point. All right. To go into PhD positions, there are some things you need to pay attention to. You must understand that it's a specialized, like I said, you are no longer doing general work, all right? You are focusing on something, for instance. I usually make fun of myself. I say, you came from Nigeria to come and work on Frost Heap, all right? Frost has to do with snow, permafrost, ice melting, and all that. I say, how can somebody all the way from Nigeria come to the US to start working on snow? All right, it's one of the first talking points I use anytime I go for conferences and I say, I'm the Nigerian boy who came from Africa to come and work on snow in the US. All right, so the first thing you need to pay attention to is technical jargon. All right, so I mean there are some terms, there are some keywords, and the likes that you need to really pay attention to. All right, this is no longer a child's play. All right, you're no longer doing regular work like a bachelor's or a master's. All right, so you have to be grounded in those technical terms. Right. The second thing is you need to be grounded in your basic principles, all right, theory. And I mean, you may not agree with me, but I have been a lecturer back in Nigeria and here. I've also taught students, and I realized we are not really doing so bad in the area of theory, all right? The basic theories that you need for any field of endeavor is currently being taught in Nigeria, all right? We may not have equipment, we may not have the advanced know-how and all that, but when it comes to theory, elementary basic principles, we are doing very well. All right, so if you want to go for a PhD, try and ground yourself in those, all right, basic principles and those basic theories. All right, and try and pick up a skill set. All right, if you are in the STEM sciences like I am, all right, I've highlighted, I mean, some 3 major areas that I feel you might want to develop competencies in. Right? You don't need to develop competencies in everything. You may just select one. Right? The first one could be computation, it could be experimental, or it could be modeling. All right? I'm very good with experimental work. All right? So you realize a situation where, for my project, for instance, there's an experimental component, there's a modeling component, there's a computation component of it. Right? So I am hired to do the experimental part. All right, and I think that's what, to a very large extent, we who come from Nigeria are very good with, experiments and things like that. We may have not have done so well in the area of modeling or the area of computation. The guys from China are very good with modeling, all right? I mean, by the time they give you a second or a fourth order differential equation and they plug it into an Excel spreadsheet and everything, all right? But if you can learn all these things, I mean, this knowledge is available on the internet, all right? But if you can learn all these things and ground yourself, all right, in any one of these areas, depending on your own area of discipline, all right, you can ground yourself, maybe experimental, maybe modeling, maybe statistical analysis, all right, SPSS, or if you're in statistics and stuff like that, it's going to help you. And I have a story to back this up. So currently, I have another colleague who is going to be defending on Monday, and he works with us in civil environmental engineering, but his basic is actually from chemistry. All right, so we had an aspect of the work that was chemical in nature, so they needed to hire somebody from chemistry. Right, so don't say because I did mathematics, I need to only be looking at mathematics-related courses. All right, go into engineering. All right, pitch your idea to a professor. Oh, I see you are working on the strength of social materials. Can I help you, do some mathematical computation, to come up with some equations and things like that? I mean, that's the way to go. You end up realizing that you'll be hired there. All right. The American system allows for fluidity. All right. They don't restrict you and say, since you did mathematics, you must be doing mathematics all through. No. If you are doing mathematics, bring it or apply it into another area, then go ahead. All right. So you have people who are currently in engineering, for instance, who started out maybe in mathematics, or started out in chemistry, or started out in physics, but currently they are in engineering. All right, so be versatile, with your skill set, all right, and look for ways you can apply it. For soft skills, I think for you to do a PhD, there are some things you need to pay attention to. You need to be able to manage yourself, right? Manage yourself. Right? Don't be the person, the kind of person that you always need a supervision. Right? It's going to help you in your endeavor, all right? Because if they realize that you are somebody that always needs constant supervision, they wouldn't let you breathe. As I was still telling a colleague of mine that, I mean, one of the things I enjoy currently now is my supervisor trusts me directly with the work. All right. So, I mean, he knows Mike will deliver on the work. So, since he knows Mike will deliver on the work, he doesn't bug me so much. All right? I'm the one that will even say, oh, I have a report to give to you. This is the update on the work, you know, and things like that. So, learn to be able to self-manage yourself. Right? Another thing you need, like I said initially, is commitment. Be committed to it. Yes, it might look like, oh, some people are doing some other big things out there, but this is your own big thing, all right? For that period of time, try and commit to it. At the end of the day, you're going to get your own reward from it, all right? You can see, I mean, particularly if you're in Nigeria in the United States, you will definitely come in contact with other Nigerians who necessarily are not studying, or they may be doing other things. Or it may look like, oh, should I also go and do that? No, commit yourself to your work, all right? By the time you finish your 2 years or your 3 years or your 5 years, I mean, you will also be free to do anything you want to do, all right? You might do other things, all right, but let your commitment or your priority, first of all, be your work, all right? Another thing you need is confidence, all right? I think Nigerians are endowed with a high level of that. In fact, confidence level is always very contagious. I usually have to refrain myself, you know, sometimes when I'm talking in a group. You need to be confident about what you know. Right? Somebody might know how to model better than you. Somebody might know how to do computation better than you, but be confident in what you know. Right? And what you don't know, reach out confidently. Say, oh, please, can you help me with this aspect of the work? I really don't understand it. All right. If you're going to do a PhD also, you need to be good with writing. And this will bring me to mention this. An area, particularly if you're coming to the US, that you want to pay attention to in your GRE is the writing section. All right. So many people don't pay attention to that. I think I scored is it a 6? A 6, you know, some people score maybe 320, 317, and they score a 3, all right, in their writing. I mean, for a supervisor, a professor who is critical about writing, that might be a red flag for him, all right? So pay attention to your writing, all right? One of the things my supervisor, you know, commented on, I said, wow, I mean, was the writing score, all right? You had very good writing scores. Also, you need to be able to speak. Why? Because you need to defend your research project in the presence of audience, all right? People are going to come around interested in your work. So if you're confident and able to talk, all right, definitely, I mean, you get exposure, all right, the exposure you're looking for. Also, you need to be creative, right? Don't be a one-way person, all right? Be creative. Sometimes when I go out to the park and I sit down and I see something in the park, I just relate it to my work. I say, oh, this could actually, and when I bring it, all right, to our discussion and I talk about it, it's like, wow, that's an interesting, you know, angle to look at it. Okay, so be creative, all right? Be creative about whatever it is you are doing. All right, current trends in the US. All right, this is one area Shola said I should talk about. From my own institution here and my overview, all right, of the US space, one of the things that is really buzzing at the moment is pharmaceuticals and chemistry. All right, nanoscale, nanotech, particularly COVID, all right? Even someone in my department got COVID grant. All right, just be creative, all right? What were they doing? They were looking for wastewater, all right? Wastewater that is living buildings, and they were testing it for coronavirus. All right, and they got funding for that. Why? Because they realized that even before the symptoms show, all right, in human beings, you know, they can start detecting it using wastewater. And they got funding for that, all right? So pharmaceuticals, you know, chemical, particularly with the vaccine and all that, you know, is currently, you know, a huge trend. All right, so if you're in that space, you know, medical space, you are in pharmacy space, you know, or you're in chemistry or nanotech or nanoscience, I mean, the US is a very good place for you. Computing and electronics, all right. I know Shola is very big on this, and particularly, I will confess, I mean, that is the biggest area. All right, that is the biggest area. I'll talk more about it, you know, soon. That's the biggest area. Why? Because everybody is making use of it. All right, if you're talking about artificial intelligence, you know, even I myself, I have to do some neural networking now. All right, so I mean, everybody is doing computing. All right, some areas in computing and artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, computer-human interaction, wearables, game design. Right, you see, I didn't put software. Right, software has become a professional stuff now. All right, most schools, offer it now as a professional degree, not necessarily an academic curriculum. All right, so software, UI, UX, well, they've cut it out and put it on professional, some professional angle, right? But they're going to learn, computer-human interaction, wearables, game design, and things like that. Universities still offer that. Another thing you want to focus on is engineering. All right, we have a lot of people working on electric vehicles, particularly the cells. They are trying to optimize, those batteries, to optimize them, to make them better. Space.
Yo, you're going to kill us today with this.
Space, is something big also. All right, please. Aeronautical engineering, all right, has left what they call it, Pegasus twin something. All right, try and do some research. All right, find out what people are doing now. All right, there's NASA. It will shock you. NASA is recruiting. The way people talk about it, when it's just like what we said. When you are outside, things look a little bit blurry. But when you are here, you begin to see, there's this one here and there's this one here, and stuff like that. So these are areas where you want to pay attention to. Then infrastructure space too. Currently, all the good space is gone. All right. So people are looking for ways, to optimize, land structures, look for smart spaces, try to make them intelligent, which still leads us back to computing. All right, computing is very light. All right, smart spaces. All right, so how do I, transform, all right, my house into an intelligent, power, energy saving, or power self-generating, energy saving structure or space. That is one area. 3D printing. Buildings are now being 3D printed. All right, so if you are there, you are saying you are doing building engineering. I mean, you need to begin to focus on, okay, how do I bring computing into this? How do we 3D print a whole building? People are doing it now. Right, those are areas of study that are currently being pursued. Yeah, so this will bring me to this. So when Shola, brought up this area, I was like, everything is computing. All right, and there's this guy Bernard Ma. I like all his articles.
Whenever I do this, whenever I ask for trend, like people go like, maybe it's because I'm in computing. Look,
no, it's not.
Point crying over spilled milk.
Yeah, no, it's not that. Mm-hmm. I'm going to I will lend my voice to that. It's not. No, don't think Shola is trying to sell his market. So sorry, it's not. It's the reality of what's on ground. Are you getting me? Anything you are doing at this point, if you computing, are you getting? Even I myself now, I have to learn it. All right, why? Because my supervisor is already considering bringing somebody all the way from China to come and do neural networking of the projects we are working on. If I knew that one, it's very simple. I just tell him, sir, after this something, give me postdoc. I will do the neural network after it. Are you getting the point? So, I mean, if you can add it now, add it. All right. So there's this guy, it's all about trends. He talks, if you search him, he has a book about trends. All right. This is the trends for the 2020s. All right. And he listed them here. I'll give you a interesting backstory. I know Shola is going to enjoy this. While I was in school, 100 level, 200 level, all right, this software programming something came, and everybody was talking about C#, and all that. And David, right? So I and David, and the other guys, we started going. I remember them. We go to the chapel, right? We try to write code. I was just looking at them, and when I got my system, I just fell in love with graphics design. All right, so I was doing graphic design. They were doing coding. I was like, you guys should come and teach me this something now. I will learn it small. I'll run away. I'll learn it small. I'll run away. Why? The graphics design was giving me money. All right, if I do small graphics, they give me 2,500. I'll be happy. If I do other small graphics, they give me 5,000. I'll be happy. All right. Then I added printing to it. So I started printing. So I was making money. I did one printing one time. They gave me 50,000. I said, I think this is the way. Programming guys, bye bye. We'll see later. Leave me with my graphics design and my printing. All right. But 5 years down the line, those guys went ahead. Microsoft competition. They went abroad and they came back and they were the boss of the whole school. And I was like, it's like this software something is becoming serious. So we graduated, before you know it, they own companies, all right, and they are earning in millions now, all right. And that was the trend for that period, all right. These are the trends that are coming in now. So if you are interested in making something for yourself, making a name for yourself, getting comfortable, you need to go into a whole lot of this stuff now, all right. Artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, wearables, and augmented humans, all right. We have new wristwatches now. I mean, I was checking out the Apple iWatch 6. I mean, Wonderful. ECG, it has ECG, it has oxygen meter, all right? It can measure your heart rate. And I mean, if you happen to fall down or mistakenly, it will call 911 almost immediately. Right? So those are technologies that are currently happening now, right? So there's this guy, like I said, Bernard Marr. I mean, he just listed all these things. And if you realize, my whole summary on this page is computing is king. All right, computing is king. So whatever it is you are doing, please add some computing into it. All right, add some computing into it. I know Shola has some courses on AI. He has some courses on chatbots, you know, and the likes. If you can, I will tell you, please take advantage of those courses. All right, those are things that make you more attractive, all right, to professors. Right? If you tell him, oh, I finished a bachelor's of science in chemistry, and I also did a program, right, in AI, something. It gets him interested. Oh, so you know how to use R, or you can do neural networking. Oh, that's wonderful. So let's work on this. All right. Oh, another thing it can help you do is can also expand the scope, all right, of your current work. All right. So if you have a work you are doing, you can, of your own volition, just sit down and come up with something. All right, and quickly do the analysis and come up with result and post it. All right, so computing is king. Whatever you are doing, please add some computing to it. All right, so I will round up with tips no one will tell you. All right, tips no one will tell you, but you know, Mike will tell you. The first thing is try and get here. You will sort out the rest. All right. I remember at some point in my life, you know that
that's golden. That's just golden, brother.
Yeah.
Just get there and everything will sort itself.
Yeah. There was a point in my life where I had a windfall. I mean, for me then it was a windfall, right? I mean, I had like almost 1 point something million. I mean, it was like a back arrears of money and stuff like that. And you know, that money just was in my account and everything. And eventually, you know, I was considering at that time, maybe I should really go for this PhD program. At least if I can sponsor myself for the first year, I will know I will sort out. But like, well, will I go there after the first year? I will start looking for money, they will pursue me back to Nigeria. No, there's nobody that will travel out of Nigeria to go and study that they will not find something for you. Right? I have people that came on their first year. After their first year, your professor himself will be the one. You will be exposed to even larger funding sources when you get here. All right, your international office will be there looking out for you to ensure that you don't go out of funding, that they will be giving you funding opportunities every week on my email. I keep on getting funding for this, but the criteria is you must be a student. You must either be a first year student in your master's program or your PhD program. So tell me, you who are in Nigeria who are still gathering application together, you can't get those ones. Why? Because you are not on the program already. All right, but when you get in the program, all right, you begin to see opportunities and things we sort out yourself. Number two, if you need to, take a loan. All right, yeah, nobody's going to tell you that. All right, but me, I will tell you. All right, why? Because what happened? All right, after I got that call, went through my process and everything. I mean, this professor can like you. I mean, you might be a bright, excellent student, but you still have to fulfill the necessary criteria. So, right, so I needed to write my GRE, I needed to write my IELTS, I needed to pay application fee and everything. And I just bought my car then. All right, I had this Toyota Sienna then that I just bought. So, I mean, I was cash strapped. All right, I mean, I'm usually the kind of person that if you give me a plan, a working plan, I can sort things out. And so I was cash strapped. You know, I tried to reach out to, this person, and everybody's talking about, I have school fees to pay. I'm sorry, this is just a bad time. At some point, I had to tell myself, see, this is your destiny. All right, take your destiny into your hand. And I went to GT Bank. Please give me money. All right, and they gave me money, and I looked at it. I mean, the interest rate was very high then. It was about 21% or so. But I looked at it and said, this is 21%. I mean, since they're not telling me to pay it all at the same time, they're breaking it down. Oh, that's not a problem. So I took the loan. I mean, in fact, that gave me more ginger because when you're going to write an exam and it's loan money you use, you won't sleep on it. So I wrote the exam in 1 week. I wrote my GRE in 1 week. Usually amazes people. Yeah, because I didn't have so much time. I wrote my GRE, I wrote my IELTS 1 week. The next week I wrote IELTS. So I didn't have time. But I mean, knowing that you collected a loan for this, I mean, it's not going to give you any room, to play. But here is the testimony. As I got here, my first salary, I paid off my loan. Are you getting it? So when you get here, things will sort itself out. All right, things will sort itself out. All right, the way they structure your stay here, you have some work hours. All right, So you can either tell yourself, oh, do I want to spend it, research, or do I want to split it in half? Do some research and do some work somewhere else. I didn't have a problem. I mean, I'm fully funded, National Science Foundation, we have all the money and everything. So, I mean, I just see that. But I mean, the first payment, I was able to sort out that loan. Right. So when you get here, things are going to sort themselves out. All right. So the next thing is fill up gaps with courses, boot camps, and the likes. Like I was saying, Shola has a lot of courses, especially in computing of the future, AI and the likes. I mean, take up courses. They count. They will count eventually. All right. Don't think they don't have to be official courses, all right, or certificate courses. All right, it can be anything. All right, a small boot camp, it could be a course somewhere. You just take it. They all count. There's nothing you're going to do that's not going to benefit anything. Right. Next, start something around you. All right. So many of these scholarships go hand in hand with things like advocacy, all right, things like leadership and stuff like that. Some of them want you to show leadership criteria or show that you're a leader. I mean, what does it take to be a leader? Gather 10 children in your area and gather them together and be giving them aspire to perspire.
I've even told them, if you led a campus fellowship, if you take in your church, whatever it is that you have done that has to do with influencing people, you can always spin the story.
Put that in, all right? Well, if you're in a church setting, go and tell your pastor you want to start leading the youth, all right? After the church, you gather them together, give them 15 minutes, charge after something. You can do it, and put it in there. Don't mind me. Shola is the evangelist. Don't mind me. Shola is the evangelist, all right? Right? So advocacy, teaching, consulting, articles, just keep doing stuff, right? Keep doing stuff. Why? Because it will all matter and it will all count at the end of the day. When I got here, you might think, oh, now that I've gotten here, you don't need to. I'm still doing stuff. I signed up with Red Cross. I've signed up with Be My Eyes. There are people that help people who are blind, right? Sometimes blind people, they need to access a place or something. They will call you, put on their camera, they will put it around and you help guide them. So I do that. All right, I join associations. I help them with small graphic design that I know how to do. Oh, I can help. Those are. So I don't want to list all the things I've done so far. Those are the things I'm going to list there. I've worked with Red Cross. I've worked here. I've done this. I'm a social media director for this and stuff like that. And finally, learn. All right, keep on learning. Don't stop learning. All right, don't stop learning. Other tips I'm going to add in there is, like I said, focus on your writing section in your exam. Then get closure. All right, if you send an application, you don't get a response from the professor or supervisor, don't assume you are disturbing them. Keep on sending emails. All right. Some of them will, at the end of the day, they will tell you, oh, thank you for following up on this. I've had a busy week. All right. It's Nigerian mentality to say, hope I'm not disturbing this man. All right. If he has not told you that you are disturbing him, keep on sending him email. All right. A lot of these professors are busy. All right. Some of them are holding administrative positions. Some of them are holding professional positions. So they get a lot of emails. Also, you send an email this week, next week follow up. Oh, Professor so-and-so, did you see my email? I'm hoping to get a response from you. By the time you do that 3, 4, 5 times, you might say, that's true. This boy has been sending me email every week. Let me go and check his stuff. All right. So if he has not typed and told you, you are disturbing me. All right. Keep on sending those emails until you get closure on it. And finally, there's no bias. All right. When it comes to international or global opportunities, you are judged based on your performance. All right. So don't think, oh, those guys are racist, or those guys, they don't want black people. No, you are just based on your performance. All right. So when you see email, I say, oh, there are a lot of quality applications this year, but unfortunately, you are not among the people that just take it in stride and move on. All right. Just imagine that there are some people that are performing better than you, and you need to do better. Right. You need to double your hustle. And I believe with these few points of time, I've been able to convince you, not confuse you. All right, that education is a very good route to assessing global opportunities. I put some of my contacts there. If you want to reach me, you could just do that, or you could. So I think we need to take questions now. Let me stop the sharing. I'm sorry, I have overshot my time.
I feel that many of the guys on this call, and you guys can turn on your video now if you can. Many of them, I feel they are people I know, and they're people who might go on and say that why should I stop Mr. Mike? So that's why I didn't bother.
Oh, okay.
Now we going to is 9 p.m. So why are you stopping me? Even though I know you would have other things to do and I would.
No, it's okay.
I'm like, hey, let's just just get this value
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
time.
yeah.
So it's like it's usually no in between moment. It's like there are people who are either very committed or there are people who are not committed at all.
That's
So
right.
whenever I see 27 people on the call, I know that those are the people who are like, if
Yeah.
this call was there for 4 hours, they will be here, you know. So and I knew that you were prepared for this.
Yeah.
This is something that is extremely valuable. I just uploaded a paper on academia.edu
Awesome.
right
Awesome.
now. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm talking about. It's not you hear it 3 days later, you now do something. No, you would never.
Just
Like,
do it. I mean,
right
those are digital footprints. Yeah.
yeah, I did a class assignment on autonomous driving, and I've been looking for how exactly I'll be able to put it in my resume. It's already, I don't think I put in my resume yet, but easily I can put that link in my resume.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
so on academia.edu.
Yeah. So guys, we need to like. And funny enough, academia.edu is not just for papers; it's for book reviews, it's for talks,
reviews,
articles,
everything.
You know, when I first came, because I thought I would have a lot of time in my master's, in my first semester. Apparently, I didn't know. I underestimated what graduate education is in the US. And I just thought I could join it with Coven Works and family and everything. And my wife is really just teaching me how to be an American husband. It's totally so, if she works till morning and how to get the kids ready for school and some of that. If she hears me just for the 2 days that you have done it now, you're shouting. The point is, joining all of that together, I underestimated like what that first semester would look like. But immediately I got into the program, I emailed all of my 3 professors, told them about the book I wrote about artificial intelligence, told them about the 3D printing work that I'm doing. And surprisingly, these guys were already telling me, send me your resume, like check it out. And in the next semester, they will see if a grad assistantship is possible for you. It's just that me, I've seen that. I don't think I can do grad assistantship.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. So, but I'm still going to look out for. I mean, it's money that is not your own, that is paid for you. It's very My first semester alone is about $6,000, and that is in-state tuition. You know, US education is expensive, and so if you can follow these principles that Mike has explained, and you can go through every single one of them, this is so much value. I don't know whether you're taking shots or pictures during the session to be able to capture those slides, but I'm going to provide you a recording. Those of you on this call, particularly those of you in the exclusive program, I'll provide the recording so you can watch it again. Most people never watch recordings, so I'm always surprised people ask me for recording. I don't know how many Zoom recordings I've ever watched in my life. Like, I'm most likely not going to watch the recording, but for some of you, you might have mentioned something that you want to remember. I would share the recording with you. It's recorded. And also, I will give you a chance to ask a few questions. I already see some hands up. There's this question I keep asking, and I want you to answer it from your own perspective as well. That would be my only question, considering that our time is fast spent. Is that so? For me, I finished with a 2-2. Understandably so. I'm not even supposed to. I mean, now when I look back, I feel like I could have finished with a 2-1. Like, if I just didn't disregard my lecturers or disregard that they were doing in the name of feeling that these guys are not even teaching us what they're supposed to be teaching us. But for basic education, for those of you who are still in school watching this, just do what they asked you for. Come out with that 2-1 so it can be useful for you in life. But lucky for me, because of all the other things I was doing in that time, I didn't allow a vacuum. So just like you were, for your academic prowess and skills, asked to come back to the university, I was asked for my own leadership and, you know, I aspire to perspire, back to come to school, you know, to work with the dean of students, you know, and do some work there. And so I always like to ask this question because all of you guys I bring always have scholarly, you know, potential, and some of the guys on the group might feel like I didn't even finish with the first class, now 2-1. So I want you to answer it from your own angle. If there's someone on this call who finished the third class, finished the 2-2, what are the tips? What are the specifics you want them to go and do from like tonight to start setting themselves apart?
Okay, good. I think one of the first things you need to do is to understand that people have done it. People who have had even grades lower than yours, they've done it. So you need to settle that it's possible for you, because the first thing is mindset. If you have a mindset where you realize I can't do this, or I'm limited because of my grade or something like that, it becomes difficult for you to make important steps or important actions. All right. Number 2, like Shola said, that you are deficient in scholarly output, you know, in terms of certificate. Now, doesn't mean you're only a daughter. All right. You need to add, what are you adding to it? All right. Somebody says, if I thought I will eat frog, at least you eat the one that has egg inside. All right. So what's the egg you are adding into, all right? What are the things you are adding, He has mentioned leadership, all right? He has mentioned advocacy. He has mentioned, oh, are you taking any certificate courses? All right. Are you doing, some other stuff by the side? Then thirdly, like I said, there's scholarship for every category. All right. The problem is this: with your third class, you are trying to fight for the same scholarship with first class people. Are you getting the point? Now, I'm going to tell you this, and a lot of people might not go to Russia. Russia they accept third class. In fact, the problem we are even having as Nigerians is this: we do not convert our grade point system. If you convert your grade point system from a 5 to a 4-point system, you realize that your in so-called third class is actually maybe a 2-1 at the end of the day. Or a 2-1 equivalent when they convert.
We can't rush this thing, Mike. We can't rush this thing. Who leaves the call? I just feel we need to. A friend of ours that as well went to Moscow first.
Yeah.
Because he did geophysics in school and he realized that that's not what he wanted to do.
That's right.
He did that geophysics, and of course there were issues with the fact that they didn't teach them well and all of that, and so he finished with a very ridiculous grade. And he still went to Russia, went to Moscow,
there's
international relations, and graduated with a distinction.
So he can take that decision now and go globally and
Mike,
throw away.
There's arrogance. There's arrogance. All this, I want to go to the US. I want to go to. If things work and it's in line, please go to the US. But if you know what Moscow looks like, some of you will not even bother to. You won't even choose another country. Talking about Botswana and South Africa the other time.
Yeah, Botswana.
You don't know how much change just having 24 hours power and internet access can do for you. So Moscow, Russia, Finland, Japan, China, there are countries that will accept you regardless of what grade you came out from. And then you can now retrace it. When you retrace it with that master's degree, you are now a scholar who is onward for your PhD. I feel I have so much knowledge or so much insight into with all of you guys around me, of course, in this field that I will be look, let me tell you one of the reasons I started my master's program. I knew that already in the field that I am, how many millionaires are in Microsoft who don't even have a Microsoft master's degree. But I just felt like, how will I be in this country, this blessed country like this? That's right. And look at all these my friends all over the place. I'm like, I can do this. Of course, I'm sweating it out because I don't have the same level of academic patience that you guys have. Like I was telling you, we're having a meeting with your professor yesterday, and then I was doing this meeting with my colleague to, create an artificial neural network in Colab and all of that. These are things that when I'm talking in Coven Labs, my mouth is always You know what I'm talking about? When I'm talking, I'm like, when you start installing Keras, you can't finish installing it. That's why you know all these things are not easy. But ultimately, they didn't make it for four-headed people. It's just resilience, commitment, discipline, staying awake, being consistent. Those are the things that will take all of us there. So thanks for that insight. You don't have to be fighting for US and Canada.
No.
Masters in those places, particularly if would you rather go to Canada to go and be struggling, or go to Russia with a fully funded program that gives you allowance?
The interesting thing, if you go to Russia, you are how do they call them now? You are a distinct species. Why? Because you can speak English. It's very funny. Just the fact that you can speak English makes you a special person. So you get there, they will be begging you, please, can you come and take Russian to English courses, come and teach our children English and stuff like that. So the opportunities for you are endless in that place. Nobody cares whether you graduate. You can speak English, you can write English. That's what they are looking for. Are you getting? So look for a place where you are appreciated. Look for a place where your degree that other people are mocking or other people that looks like it's not up to standard. Go to a place where they celebrate you. Absolutely. And when you are done there, retrace your step back if you want to. All right. If you want to.
Let's look at those questions. Nicholas, it looks like we've answered your question already, or what?
Yes, you have, but I don't know if I can just chip in a little question.
Go on.
I will use myself as an example. I have my degree, but no journals, no paper, no citation, nothing. In fact, I'm even struggling to change my LinkedIn, how do I put it now? All those little things I've learned. I started learning coding this year, and then I'm also in chatbot classes now.
Awesome.
I don't have that confidence yet to put it there, but I intend to do that very soon, when I graduate. So now, what do I write in my SOP to these people? Do I tell them that, okay, so I'm interested in this work, probably human-computer interaction, and I see it is deal with, but even though I have some requisite knowledge about maybe NLP, NLU, Azure, question and answer and all that, I know I can do better. I know I can be of help. I know I can work with you and, be a prodigy to you. Is that okay to put on my SOP? Is that okay?
All right. So from what I get, you finished in engineering, right?
No, physics.
In physics, okay. You finished in physics, but now you want to. And now we both understand what physics means, particularly in FUTA. All right. So you finished in physics, and then you want to cross platform now into computer-human interaction and the likes, right? All right, good. So here in the US, we run what we call a credit system. All right. So basically, what happens is this: you are able to move from one course of study to another. All they need to do is to look at both course of study and ask, what can we transfer from here to here? Then whatsoever is remaining, you have to take all those courses as prerequisites. All right. For someone like you, the first thing is to make a indelible mark in the mind of the professor. All right. Let him know my background is in physics, but I've taken some courses, in artificial intelligence, in computation, in chatbots. I mean, if you can get some certification to back it up, good. Are you getting the point? And then if you can make an indelible mark via your SOP, put all those things in there. Let them know, though my background is in physics, I've been able to do this. Then your key point is this: what have you been able to do with the little knowledge that you've gotten? For instance, you say you are learning chatbots, right? I mean, so you should be able to put inside your SOP that, oh, after I learned chatbots, I was able to develop a chatbot, that helped so and so, maybe for critical response, all right, to a hurricane or to an emergency situation, all right. So if you put it there, I mean, so we've gone beyond physics. All right, that is was just an introduction. Okay, I had so at least they know this guy read book. It's not dumb. All right, you don't even need to put what you graduated with there. I mean, I graduated. I studied physics from so university. I graduated so. Currently, I'm doing artificial intelligence chatbot. Then you move on to what have you been able to do with this current one, and those are the things that we interest him. So in his mind, he's not thinking about the guy that studied physics. He's thinking about the guy that developed a chatbot, all right, that solved this problem. The guy that had this AI solution to solve this problem, and he's like, I need this guy. All right. So when you now get into the place where you begin to talk, then you begin to talk about credit system. Okay, what courses have you taken that is relevant to this now, or what courses do you need to add to it? Do you get that? All right. So in your SOP, play towards your strengths. All right, play towards your strength. You don't need to put there and say, oh, I studied physics, but I did poly. No, need to just tell them you graduated, you studied physics, you graduated, and now you're into chatbot, and mesmerize them with all the things you've been able to do with your chatbot.
Exactly. You are taking for granted something, Nicholas. You know what you're taking for granted? Earlier this year, you couldn't say words like NLU, NLP.
Yeah. Even I don't know those.
8 months ago, when I met you and we were doing some work in your organization, so you must understand that 8 months of learning alone has set you apart from some other folks who are just trying to cross in without any background. So I've spent the last 8 months, and I've told you guys, finish an Udacity course, finish a Coursera program, finish AI for Everyone by Andrew Ning. Once you have all of that and you list it out, that's what you will start with.
Yeah.
Then, we always emphasize in our programs, write. Open a Medium account, write on LinkedIn. Yeah. What am I going to write about? A new concept you just learned. I told some kids, I said, one of the things you need to start with is You can say machine learning is like teaching a baby how to walk, and you write an article on that and make comparisons. You can write about the difficulty you are facing in understanding NLP and how you were able to get through with that solution. If they give you an assignment in class and you write the program, write an article about it. You know, just make sure it's like you are. It's not like you feel like writing it. You know, you're not happy to write it. It's not like it's your hobby. You are literally 4 minutes because of where you are going to. And don't be scared to write your title. Hey, nobody is going to put a knife on your neck. Nobody. It's called self-acclaim. In the beginning, it will start as self-acclaim. Then you begin to prove it towards it. If you spend too much time on self-acclaim and you don't prove it, that's when it becomes reputation liability. So for now, nobody will beat you for it. If you don't want to use, some of my students will say enthusiast. So they will say artificial intelligence enthusiast, so that it doesn't sound like they are experts or anything. Some will say machine learning engineer in training. You know, some will just find a way around it. The key thing is you want to demonstrate that so that when you even try to connect to somebody online, they would look at you and say, this is somebody serious. Let me take a look. You know how many people have written me just on my title and be like, oh, let's do this to this. And I was far from being an AI leader when I started calling myself an AI leader. But I knew that I was going to work at, well, that's my own style. I will work hard to meet up with whatever I have proclaimed myself to be. It has a connection with my faith, and it's not everybody that can do that. But essentially, don't be scared. Don't be worried. You are in that program. Come on, what's the worst that can happen? Somebody asks, is what you are taught you will put now? At the end of the program, you can build a chatbot with Keras and Dialogflow. So put it there. Dialogflow engineer. That's what you are. When you finish in university and you finish in physics, maybe it's even mechanical engineering you study. Did you not call yourself a mechanical engineer?
Exactly.
Spark plugs and transistor color. But we called ourselves mechanical engineer because we stayed there for 5 years. In the same way, this one is even better. So I thought that would answer some other post questions. So Peculiar, I would unmute you now, and let's hope we've not already answered your question, but that would be good. So we can. So Peculiar, over to you. Peculiar, can you unmute yourself? I can't take plenty of questions. Now many questions are coming up. Yeah, Peculiar.
Okay.
Hello. People have gotten you.
All right. Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. Okay, so I have like 3 questions. So I'm just going to say them one after the others. Oh my God. No, but they're not like serious questions like that. They're not going to be lengthy. Okay, so the first advantage of the opportunity where you say your professors are looking for students. I don't know, maybe I missed about the school you're in right now. So I wanted to know that. So maybe I for that as well put that in my list of universities to apply for. So that's my first question. Then the second one is, okay, so you talked about publishing articles and stuff. So why am I a graduate of electrical electronics engineering? I have written blogs, but not really about my field of study. I've blogged about other things. Does that count? Or do I have to just tailor whatever it is I'm writing about towards my particular field of study, or what I intend to study in my master's program? So that's my second question. Then my third question is, I got thrown out of the class when we were talking about PhD being the better route for my PhD without like having a master's in, and I'm not so strong on that. So I wanted to like have this master's like as an intermediary, build up on my research skills, then pursue a PhD. But are you saying it's possible to switch or to just move from a BSc to a PhD? So those are my 3 questions. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Peculiar. For the first one, my university is University of North Carolina, Charlotte. All right. So if you want to do some research on that, I mean that would be wonderful, and I'll be very glad to assist you in whatsoever way possible. We also have a Nigerian community here, particularly electrical electronics. I mean, we have a lot of guys there. So it would be nice if you could. I will try and do due diligence to at least link you up with some of them. Okay.
I would appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. So for the second one, I believe I think Shola will know that. At some point, I had to open two different LinkedIn accounts. Why? Because I do a lot of things. All right. I do a lot of things, all right? I graphic design, photography, all right? I even preach, so I do a lot of things. So at some point, I needed two different LinkedIn accounts. But what I'm going to tell you is this: what are you applying for? All right? If you're applying for electrical electronics, for instance, and you have a blog on cooking, all right, you need to tailor everything you are doing towards electrical electronics. Don't try to look distracting or like make people feel like you are everywhere. All right, what you could now then do is this: find a way to let them know that, oh, aside from electrical electronics, I also have an hobby. All right, I have this blog and several people are following me. I mean, just try to tie it into something like leadership, something like advocacy. So I also advocate for good nutrition. All right. One of the things I advocate about is good nutrition. On my blog, where about 2,000 people visit per month or per year. All right. So just plug it. There's always a way to plug it in there, but make sure everything is aligning to what you are focusing on. All right. So that's what I'm going to say concerning the second one. Tailor everything you have done towards what you are doing. I remember when I was sending in my CV, all right, and I have a very interesting CV. In there, I put skill sets, all right, and one of the skill sets I put there, I put video authoring, photo editing, something with Photoshop, Adobe Photoshop suite. And one day, my professor came in with my CV in his hand, and he said, he looked at the CV and he looked at me and he said, "You say you know how to do videos, right?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Oh, wonderful. This COVID, we cannot open the lab, so we need to shoot videos." And that's how I started shooting videos for all the lab sessions. So everything's going to find a way to tie in, all right? We have something we call potluck, right, where people bring in food, and, just to eat together, and talk and things like that. So that could come in handy. I mean, you could combine everything and say, "Oh, I have a recipe blog if you're interested in Nigerian food or something." So everything will tie in one way or the other, all right? So don't feel you need to maybe change your direction or maybe start writing a blog. You can have something different, all right, on electrical electronics or whatever it is you are doing, all right, but still keep doing that, but find a way to tie it into the main purpose of the application. All right, why? Because you can end up at some point needing that, for a different application or whatever it is. For the third one, a big yes. It is possible to move from a BSc to a PhD. In fact, that is what it's supposed to be. All right, particularly if you're a high-flying student, you have very good degrees. It is possible to move. In fact, the normal way or the normal route, I'm sorry, it's just that abnormalities are the norm in Nigeria. The normal route is this: if you're a 2-1 first-class student and you are interested, now this is not as if you are excellent, and you are interested in research, you should be able to move directly from a BSc straight to a PhD. Right? The only difference is this here in the US. If you are moving from a BSc to a PhD, you would not be able to use the minimum 3 years. All right, at most maybe 4 years or 5 years. All right, because they want you to take some additional courses to ground you in some advanced level knowledge for you to carry out your research. All right, so ultimately at the end of the day, it begins to look like maybe the PhD is like a combination of a master's and a PhD, but no, it's a direct PhD from your undergraduate. So it is possible to do that. And the reason why I was saying PhD is better than a master's is because it gives you more room, like I said, to settle down, to plan yourself, particularly if you have the mind of emigrating or relocating. All right. So I think I've been able to answer your question.
Yeah. Abdurrahman, you can.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah,
Can you
hello.
hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Sola and Mr. Mike.
Yeah.
Actually, this is the first time I'll be speaking with you, Mr. Sola. I don't know whether you remember me. I emailed you a time about me being in Malaysia, right? And yeah, so I actually forced myself to to talk. It's actually very difficult for me, but yeah, I just forced myself to talk. So I might not have a specific question, but I just want to get some motivation. So, okay,
Don't worry.
hold on,
Go
just
ahead.
time.
I'm all for
Yeah.
that.
Okay, so I finished my bachelor's degree in multimedia, right, with a second class upper degree, and I'm currently doing information technology master's degree. And I challenged myself after my master's degree to seek a first class degree because I know the opportunities that it might open, right?
Yeah.
I'm not really a firm believer in university education, honestly, and I think one thing that I've been dealing with is because is imposter syndrome. So I think I want you to maybe talk about that. So I don't currently feel that the university education that I have gotten has given me the technical skills that I need to be successful out there.
Mhm.
And even though I've tried so hard to learn independently, exposing myself to different courses. Is either you don't finish courses or something else take over you. Life happens, right?
Yeah.
And that's why even currently in my last semester of my degree of my master's, and doing my research in user preferences of digital mental health applications.
Awesome. Yeah.
So I've actually planned, even before I joined Mr. Shola's exclusive group, about 1 month before, 2 months before, I set a target that 2021 is going to be my self transformation year, right? So I created a WhatsApp group for myself where I was putting resources of the things I wanted to learn. So I was thinking towards, okay, improving my skills in web development, per se. So the AI side was not really an interesting side because I felt that my mathematics and statistics was not strong. And but again, I'm still looking, towards, going through that. I'm going through that possibly if next year adding it to the things I want to do.
Yeah.
And so I've been having this idea that PhD is not the way for me because I don't think I know how to do research. And maybe one headway I can pass through is maybe technical skill, working in industry. Even that also, the technical skill is like lacking. So I just really have to work hard. And while I'm having all these thoughts, also I saw a PhD opportunity in Norway just a few days ago regarding PhD
Man, I want
in
you to summarize. I want you to summarize because of our time. Okay.
yeah. So I took a PhD and I tried to I plan actually to apply for that, just to see whatever happens there. So I think what did you just think about when you're feeling, of course there is that motivation there, right? That you want to like do hard, but and this imposter syndrome is coming and you have all these conflicting thoughts. Maybe just general thoughts on
The
that.
question is,
Thank you
how
very
do you
much.
combat imposter syndrome?
Yes.
Mike, you want to say something about that?
I got that. So the first I'm going to tell you is, I think you have a very nice voice. All right. So yeah, I mean, see, because if you don't start from the little things, you might not appreciate some of the bigger things. All right. You have a very nice voice, and from the voice, I can infer that you have a very nice face too, even though I can't see the face. All right. So I mean, I want to encourage you. All right. You've been able to, from what I can gather, you've been able to move to Malaysia, right, for your master's degree.
Yeah.
Good. I mean, why not start something to encourage people who want to move to Malaysia? You will find fulfillment in that. You will find strength in that. You will find your development of your own personality also in that. I mean, that's by the way. All right. To answer your question, everybody is an imposter. Okay. Everybody's an imposter. All right. You hear Shola saying something like, putting himself up there, then working his way towards that. I mean, that's imposter. I'm sorry, like I said, I will not have the fine words to use, but that's imposter. All right. I mean, you see me here. I mean, I'm not here because I feel like I'm supposed to be here. All right. But I mean, you stand up to the challenge. I mean, you put the challenge in front of you and you stand up to it. Sometimes you might be doing things that you feel people have done before, but go ahead and still do it. All right. The interesting thing is, in you doing it, you are going to do it in your own way. Are you getting the point? You're going to do it in your own way. And I finally want to address where you started from. All right. I feel you need to maximize schooling. All right. Schooling is not all about the book or the research or the academics, as it were. All right. The reason why you come with the feeling that school is a scam is because the Nigerian system has warped us. All right. Maybe you found yourself in a situation where people are competing for who's the best person academically. Meanwhile,
I didn't school in Nigeria.
Oh, okay, good. So maybe you find yourself in a situation where people are very competitive. So your attention was more on the competition than the people around you. All right. I'm in the US here, and I happen to teach, some undergraduate students, and I realize the way we approach academics is different from the way they do. Now we read book, and the remaining time that is left, we use it to enjoy. the way they do it is different. They enjoy, and whatever time is left, they use it to read book. All right. So they have more social interactions within themselves, and these are the interactions and the relationships that help them go far in life. All right. So you are doing your master's now. I'm going to challenge you. Start having a rapport with your schoolmates. Start having a rapport with your colleagues. All right. Focus on that. I'm not saying you should throw away your knowledge of book entirely. Also, try and gain all those other, stuff. I have an article on my blog, that school is not a scam. All right. There are several things you learn in school: relationships. You learn how to be street smart. You learn how to relate with people and stuff like that. So you need to think about it holistically, all right? Not just in terms of technical ability. I believe there's a lot of potential in you. I mean, you just need to find it out. I believe you're gonna do that.
Yeah, as we begin to round up, that's very profound. Thank you so much. As we begin to round up, I just want to tell you, Abdul, don't it depends on, it's difficult when you ask a question for people to really tell what the context is.
Yeah.
Some of you will ask questions and you have family heritage. For some of you will ask questions and there's nobody you're trying to impress in your family. Everybody's doing okay. For some other people, if you ask me that question now and you are the hope of your family, I'll tell you there's no reason why you shouldn't do a PhD.
That's right.
You understand? These are some of the things. So I'm always very careful because of to use my background to judge other people. Because I have a lot of rich friends. And I have a lot of friends who, even if they don't go to school in their family, like they already have the heritage. Their parents have houses in Victoria Island and all of that. So if for you it's about fulfillment and everything, and you're already in Malaysia, so you're out of the country. If you want to move to the US from Malaysia, it is not as difficult as it is from when you were in Nigeria. So you don't even particularly need a PhD, for example, to move to the US. But we are telling you that, as they say things like when you're in America, like even if you don't do a master's program, your life is okay. It's true in some sense. But what we know as well is that if you do a master's and a PhD, your success is almost guaranteed.
It is.
We are certain of that. We know you can be director of the Methodist Hospital right down the road. We know you can be, you can be in Congress. We just know that there is no limit to what you can be. You can be the Surgeon General of the country. You can be whatever it is. So for me, what I would keep telling you is, whatever you consider the greatest ideal in your life, pursue it.
Yeah.
If you consider at the time, doing a master's and a PhD was not anything close to my own greatest ideal. I had other things I considered ideals. Now, being in a country where I seriously need to normalize, like more than ever before, naturalize. Like I don't want to be, I have friends and family members who 1-2 years ago, they used to bully me. They'll bully me with, oh, you're trying to talk like American, or you're trying to do this. Now I don't even care. Because if I live here for the next 10 years, I'm still going to be about 40. That's what it is. So essentially, you can say that I was brought here as a youth, if you think about it. So what are my greatest ideals here? Run a PhD and become anything that I want to be in this country, that I can be as an immigrant. The highest office potentially as an immigrant would be to go to Senate. And then you can't become a Senate president or a speaker, because if you do, you'll be in the line of succession. And if you were not born here, you can't be in the line of succession. Do you understand how I'm thinking? Like, I really want to be, if I want to within the next 10 years, I still want to be able to get into an astronaut program. I still want to be able to, if I can't get into NASA's regular program because I'm already not in my mid-20s, I should be able to get into Elon Musk because it's a private, program. And I should be able to go to space. I mean, I can't get anywhere close to that if I'm in Africa. So those are my own greatest ideals. So what are your own greatest ideals? Because we can't really judge you based on, should you do a PhD, should you not? Or if you are the hope of your generation, do everything that you need to do.
I am the hope, and I'm 26.
If you are the hope, then I will not be nice to you. I won't be kind to you. I will be brutal with you. Whether you have the head for research or not, you need, because there's nothing you can't learn. So whether you have the head for research or not, you need to start thinking about getting into your PhD program, because that will settle you into a more stable place. Because you might not really, for someone like you, for other people on this call who have not moved out of Nigeria, I would say Malaysia, Russia. But for you, you did your first degree outside the country, you did your master's in Malaysia, you're looking for better places. So for you already, I would say start considering moving to the United States, and take it seriously and be strongly committed to it. Okay, and work more on it than even talking about it. The way you set up that WhatsApp group now, keep doing it and let me be hearing in like 2-3 months time that you're sending me letters of scholarship about your selection. All right.
Okay, thank you very much.
Guys, I wish we can take more. Ambrose, I would only because you're a very consistent person. So I'm going to take your question. So Ambrose, quickly. Real quickly.
Okay, good evening.
Go.
Hello, Ambrose.
Shola, thank you, Mr. Mike. Yeah, my question is quickly on 3 areas.
Okay.
First, 3 areas.
I did geophysics. Yes, I'm going to be fast about it.
Okay.
Say yes or no or something like that. First, I did geophysics, and what actually dragged me to that area was trying to do some kind of using the geophysics software to analyze data and all of that.
Okay.
So I went from there to do a master's. Though I was not having a good score, I came out with 2.2 because I was actually hustling, going to school, fending for myself. So it really distracted me. Same with my master's, where I didn't get a PhD grade. So I was just thinking, how am I able to you are talking about Mr. Mike in the US. That was one. Then 2, I now find solace in the area of AI, which Mr. Shola as God has used him to bring to us. I really embrace it because I find a connection with it in the area of geophysics. So I'm still trying to see how I can really connect it with that area, going to do it in PhD. So I don't know if you can advise me on this.
I mean, as you're talking, I mean, I already have the solution. I think before I left Nigeria, the Geophysics Association had a conference, and the conference was entirely on big data. If you are into geophysics, like you said, I mean, you guys have a lot of data. I mean, drilling rigs and the like. So there's a lot of big data there, all right? And that is artificial intelligence, and all those AI stuff, right? So what I'm going to advise you to do is this. I mean, if you are interested in doing your PhD, start working on some projects, all right? After you are through with Shola's class, take that knowledge you have and try to solve some problems, all right? It may be imaginary. If you are privileged enough to have access to some companies, try and solve some problems for them. All right, take the data, maybe analyze it, and maybe generate a solution or whatever it is for them. Now, all these things are the things you're going to put into your application. All right, and like we said, you don't need to be targeting US, at least for now. All right, look for places where your 2.2 is valuable. All right, by the time they do the conversion, they will accept you. I mean, you will have your geophysics masters, you have your AI program that you are running, and you've had tangible proof or tangible solution that you have invented to solve people's problem. I mean, you are good to go. I believe you're on your way already.
Mike, let me add that because you are doing a course like AI.
Yeah.
See, I already knew when I was applying to my program that, and I keep telling this, and let me say it in case of those of you, I didn't come here to America to go to school. I came here as an extraordinary ability person for my business, and I'm very privileged to be enjoying that. But I found out that this is one of the things I can add to myself. So again, I didn't have the privilege of having a 2.1. I finished with a 2.2. So just like you, but because it's AI that I'm trying to do, there are not even enough applicants for AI in that school. Now, number one, that school is one of the few schools in the United States that is doing artificial intelligence as a course, not as a specialization. There's a department called MS in AI, right? So there's a very strong chance that school you're trying to go to, just choose something strange, like 3D printing, like, neurocomputing, like, biomedical engineering. There's a very strong chance that even with your 2.1, particularly if you have relevant undergraduate coursework for FUTA, and many of the Federal University of Technologies, they have done all the I mean, the kind of numerical analysis you do in year 2, year 3, year 4, perhaps or GBRA, those are all things that they're looking for. So that's why I didn't have a 2.1. I was still a candidate that appealed to them. I didn't even get a chance to submit, because I was in the middle of COVID. Like, it was right in the middle of COVID. And those of you who are not taking advantage of COVID right now, I don't know what you're doing. Because with COVID,
nobody's asking for GRE scores, nobody's asking for anything. Just come.
I mean, So this is the best time, even with that tutu, just make sure you apply, be keen on those schools that you're looking at and just go for it. This is not the final session we're having, so please hang in there. Today, this is it for today. And I want to thank Mr. Michael Duebo. Doc, thanks so much for coming on the call. By God's grace, first quarter, I will be moving around, so hopefully we'll connect in North Carolina. Yeah, I have a brother here who lived in North Carolina for like 6-7 years.
Awesome.
And he will be more than happy if I say we should drive back.
Yeah.
Because he definitely, he still went back some last month or 2 months ago. But,
okay.
Definitely something we need to connect soon again. And then for all of you who are on the call, there's going to be session on Germany, the United Kingdom, sometimes this weekend. I'm sorry, I can't give you enough notice because that's what some of you might be saying. I can't. You know why? Because these are very busy people, and I'm just securing them on a case-by-case basis. Just say, bro, can you come online next 2 days? So I might not be able to give more than 1 to 2 days notice, but know that we're using, because my goal is that by the time I leave for my trip to Nigeria, sometimes next weekend, I will not be running any session till the end of the year. So I want to make sure that all of the sessions I'm running are between now and next week, Thursday. So work with me. I can just bring it up on you and say there is an expert. I would have them recorded so that people can rewatch them, but you can never be able to, you can never be able to measure how much power it is when Nicholas can ask his question and Abdurrahman can summon the courage to speak over and then ask those questions as well. So try to be there physically, and then let's keep making this happen. Once again, Mike, thank you so much for coming on.
Yes, and I just need to mention this. If they have questions, I think you have a Telegram group where everybody is. So, if you have questions, we can link up there. I could answer questions, later on if Shola opens up.
By all means. So, as much as possible in the larger group, I try not to add this gentlemen there because of their schedule. I put them in the exclusive group. So I put you in the exclusive group as well, Mike. And in particular is in the exclusive group as well.
Yeah, so we can just take
100 people. So yeah, it's a lot more coordinated and less noisy than the large group. We learn a lot on the large group as well, but I don't want people like buzzing and that's going to be too much. So so please ask your question on the exclusive group. If you're in the general group and you're on this call right now, you want to be part of the exclusive group, please put a message on the general group and someone on my team is going to show you the guidance of how to do that. All right. There's like 75 other people who are in the exclusive group who didn't join tonight, because maybe they're just too busy with life and everything. But this journey of moving abroad requires dedication. You have to focus on it. You have to invest in it. You have to spend your time on it. It won't just fall on your lap like a pot of cherry. But I assure you, it's just like becoming rich after being poor for so many years. When you move to wherever you are going to, you will forget all of the struggles and your joy will be full. Like it's almost like being in the kingdom of God. Like your joy will be full. I am not joking. Like some of my friends in Nigeria, Michael, that thing you started with, until you get here, you won't know. Some of my friends in Nigeria who have had the privilege of traveling abroad to visit, they say things like, Shola is just too excited about moving abroad. And I told them, I've been coming to the US since 2015, right? Maybe that's not too many years, but that's about 5 years. And I travel abroad 4 or 5 years times a year. France, Denmark, by virtue of my work. So I'm not someone who is starved with traveling abroad. But I assure you that moving abroad is different from visiting abroad. Totally different. Your health insurance, your access to opportunities. I cut out about $16,000 from my school fees just because I've lived here 1 year before going to school. $16,000. They call it in-state tuition. And there's so many other benefits like that. My brother is doing his master's in New York, in LLM in New York, and he got about $40K in funding, and just effortlessly, because he lives here. So there's a lot of opportunities. All the children you're ever going to give birth to here, they have that opportunity. They can be president. Kamala Harris' parents walked into this country, year-old woman, and they gave birth to her, and she's the vice president of the United States today. So I don't know. I don't know who anybody who can appreciate that and just thinks I'm just being, necessarily impressed. Well,
Yeah.
that person that's what I would say. That person is a joke. If you know how fast space is from
Yeah.
here, and people are able to send people into space, that alone can just make you worship and just say, I just want to be slain in worship for this country.
Yeah, that's true.
That's all I have to say. Thank all of you for joining. Mike, do you have some final words?
Yes, maybe in line of, some of the things you said. I was thinking of Muslim which day was, and I was like, you really don't know who you are until you find yourself in a place where things are working. Right? Some of you are stingy, not because you are a stingy person, but because the environment has made you so. All right. So I concur a lot with what Shola was saying. I mean, you wouldn't know really until you get here. All right. Even your personality, you yourself will change. All right. Why? Because you're in a place where things are working. You don't have external frustrations. All right. You don't have to think about when next NEPA will bring lights. All right. Or there's no light, you have to go fetch water from a well. All right. Or anything like that. All right. I witnessed a small accident. Which day was that? The guy was trying to swerve into a corner, and unfortunately he entered into a ditch. And in 2 minutes, the police was there, the ambulance was there. He didn't sustain any injuries, but they were there just to ensure that he was safe and everything was going well. You cannot comprehend what that did to me mentally. I understand what would have happened that was in Lagos, Nigeria. All right, so please,
gentlemen, I hate that this thing is not ending. A gentleman left my house. A friend of mine left my house for after maybe Labor Day or something. Came for holiday.
Yeah.
And as he was getting back to Maryland, he just felt a sharp pain in his belly, and so he went to the hospital.
Yeah.
He just checked himself to an ER to just check himself out, and they took him to the theater right away and operated him for appendicitis right away.
Yeah.
$10,000. They didn't collect a dime from him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. If he was in Nigeria, I would be praying for his life. Because I've lost friends. I don't know about you, but I've lost friends to appendicitis operation.
Yeah.
Procedures that shouldn't kill anybody. So again, if you value your life and everything, work hard.
I will encourage everybody. Right? I usually don't like to talk in the general sense about Nigeria because it might look pessimistic, but for you, for your family.
Stopping live stream now in case we're saying some other things that are possible. Guys on live stream, bye-bye. Some guys on the YouTube on this